the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at w.
Are we ready?
Time is 10 a.m.
Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Pat, and I'm here with Matt. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over the KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And here's Matt.
Yep, just know I'm using a Braille device. If something goes weird, I'll try to fix it. From the Springfield Daily Citizen, federal, state, and local officials celebrate Route 66 Centennial Interstate 44 projects by Jack McGee. That's who it is. Okay. One second here. That's Route 66 Centennial anniversary of the Mother Road and Springfield role as its birthplace. Senate Master Administrator of the Federal Highway Administration joined Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe, Missouri Department of Transportation Director Ed Hesinger, I think Springfield City Manager David Kerman, and a slew of local and state transportation officials to celebrate the legend of Route 66 and highlight current and future infrastructure projects along its modern successor, Interstate 44. Okay. Yes, okay. The event took place within view of I-44 at Crossway Baptist Church, just east of Glenstone Avenue, the same street, I-44, Kansas Expressway, and Highway 65 is currently being widened to 6 lanes as one of several projects planned for the interstate in southwest Missouri. Transportation Director Ed Hesinger addressed the media at the Route 66 Centennial kickoff event on Thursday, April 30th, 2026, in Springfield, outlining major infrastructure improvements underway along the Interstate 44 corridor. There's a photo thing. As we stand here celebrating the last century, you can see behind us the active work that we're putting together to serve generations to come, Edgar said. Today we celebrate where this road has taken us and where we're headed. Okay, one second here. Okay. Master highlighted the U.S. Department of Transportation efforts to reduce traffic congestion and the federal funds allocated for projects along I-44, collectively known as Forward 44. This isn't about renovating the wheel. It's about maximizing the roads that we already have. Master said, we're doing exactly that here from Route 66. It's one of the most famous highways. Good grief, hang on. Having some trouble today. In the world, okay, for 100 years, Route 66 has told the story of America, connecting small towns to big opportunities and helping shape our national economy. It's amazing to consider the impact of and importance of Route 66. It was a major transportation hub for traveling through the heart of America, and it will remain so for another century and into the future, thanks to all the remarkable changes that are planned for the interstate corridor as part of the Forward 44 project. I think that's most of what that is. So we'll take it over to Sandy now.
Pat.
Oh, sorry, Pat.
It's okay.
It's Monday.
all right.
It's a
Yes,
Monday.
Okay. Out of the Springfield News-Leader, now this is just super interesting. Missouri conservation officials warn Missouri drivers of turtles crossing the road and slow down. Motorists across Missouri are being asked to slow down and stay alert for turtles crossing roadways during the spring months, according to a community announcement from the Missouri Department of Conservation. Spring rains and warmer temperatures prompt turtles to leave their burrows in search of food, mates, and nesting sites, often bringing them onto roads where they face a high risk of being struck by vehicles, according to the announcement. Several species are commonly seen crossing Missouri roads, including three-toed box turtles, ornate box turtles, and common snapping turtles. Why do turtles cross the road in spring? Turtles typically spend most of their lives within a small area, but some may travel as far as 6 miles, according to the announcement. Young males are the most frequent travelers as they search for territory and mates, while females also cross roads while looking for suitable nesting areas. Roadways can also attract turtles because of warmth. Like other reptiles, turtles are cold-blooded and may bask on warm pavement during cooler spring days, which increases the risk of vehicle strikes. How motorists can help safely. MDC encourages drivers who see a turtle on the road to slow down and, when it is safe, steer around it. If motorists choose to help a turtle cross, the agency advises putting personal safety first by checking for traffic and moving the turtle in the direction it was already traveling, according to the announcement. Additional guidance is available in a short MDC video on youtube.com, which explains safe ways to help turtles crossing roads. Tracking wildlife vehicle collisions statewide. Beyond turtle safety, MDC is working with the Missouri Department of Transportation on broader wildlife vehicle collision prevention efforts. Missouri's Wildlife Vehicle Collision Study identifies locations where conflicts between vehicles and wildlife occur most frequently and recommends strategies to improve safety while maintaining habitat connectivity. More information is available at modot.org. MoDOT has also launched a roads, that's spelled capital R, capital O, small a, capital D, capital S, Roadkill Observation and Data System app, a citizen science program that allows the public to report roadkill or animals near roadways. The reports are intended to help fill data gaps and support conservation planning across the state. Leave turtles in the wild. MDC also advises residents to leave wild turtles where they are found. Removing a turtle from the wild and keeping it as a pet often leads to its death, according to the announcement. While most Missouri turtles live 15 to 30 years, box turtles can live 50 to 80 years and sometimes more than 100 years. Information about Missouri turtle species is available through MDC's online field guide at mdc.mo.gov. And this story was created by Dave DeMille and submitted to Springfield News-Leader. There you go, Matt.
Okay, I like that acronym. Back to the Springfield Daily Citizen. Matt O'Reilly sells Farmers Park to North Dakota-based real estate company. Farmers Park, located at 2144 East Republic Road, includes 58 apartment units and commercial spaces for tenants in multiple industries. There's Ryan Collins, was back on May 1st, but I don't think it's been read, so. And then. Farmers Park, a mixed-use property with commercial space and 52 apartment units in southeast Missouri, was sold to Edgewood Real Estate Investment Trust. Apparently, Farmers Park. So let's see what I just said. According to a May 1st company press release, Edgewood purchased the property from Matt O'Reilly's Green Circle projects, according to the release. The company did not disclose the financial terms of the transaction in the release. Farmers Park, located at 2144 East Republic Road, includes 58 apartment units and commercial space. It's the same I already read. Hang on. Okay, it's basically the same thing I read. It is the host of the Farmers Market of the Ozarks. Springfield continues to stand out as a market we believe in, said James Thomas, asset manager at Edgewood. We are excited to grow our portfolio here and invest in a community that has demonstrated strength, fundamentals, and long-term potential. Farmers Park is a natural fit for our strategy, and we're proud to be part of its next chapter. Edgewood owns assets in 15 states. Besides Farmers Park, the company owns Quarry Tower Apartments and Woods Townhomes in Springfield, according to the company website. Farmers Park has more than 150,000 square feet in total, and was appraised at 29.8 million, according to the Greene County Assessor's Office records. The records did not reflect the most recent sale. Probably these darn captions that restate what I've already read. Oh, that's basically that was it. So on back to Pat again.
Okay, let's see here. Sonic has donated $25,000 to support Springfield teachers for Teacher Appreciation Day. A major donation is set to support local classrooms as a part of Teacher Appreciation Day on May 5th. Sonic Drive-In announced it will match up to $25,000 in donations for Springfield area teachers through a partnership with Donors Choose. The funding is expected to go towards classroom requests submitted by public school teachers, helping provide supplies and resources as the school year wraps up. Teachers can submit requests for classroom needs, while community members can browse and donate to projects online. Officials say the goal is to ease the financial burden of many educators face when purchasing supplies out of pocket. Teachers go above and beyond every day to create meaningful learning experiences for their students, often using their own resources, said Stuart Brown, Executive Director of Sonic Foundation. We're proud to give educators the tools they need. Requests on Donors Choose range from basic supplies like books and writing materials to more specialized items such as science kits and classroom technology. Donors Choose CEO Alex Guerrero said the partnership sends a clear message of support. Teachers face new challenges each year, yet they continue showing up for students, Guerrero said. Sonic's support for educators in their restaurant communities this Teachers Appreciation Day will give educators the supplies they need to finish the year strong. This was part of a nationwide effort. The Springfield donation is part of a larger $1 million nationwide campaign funded in part by proceeds from Sonic drink sales. Since 2009, the Sonic Foundation says it has donated more than $32 million to support public education across the country. Organizers say the effort is designed to directly connect communities with classroom needs and make it easier for teachers to access resources that benefit their students. Matt.
Okay. From the Springfield Daily Citizen, the Answer Man column. What's the reason for excavation near South National and James River Freeway? Of course, by Steve Pokin. More from him in a little bit. Back on the first. We'll get to that here. Interman, what's going on near the Rapid Roberts on South National Avenue near the James River Freeway? That's the photo there. Interman, there seems to be a lot. I think, of dirt. Of is missing. Dirt being moved and excavation work near the Rapid Roberts on South National Avenue, just south of the James River Freeway. There's also work being done nearby on the other side of South National, according to the Reverend Roberts. What's going on there? That was Gene Stetterton of Springfield. Just wants to know that. The Reverend Roberts you're talking about is at 1221 East Kingsley Street, although it sure looks like it's on South National. I mentioned this to Reverend Roberts in a June 23rd Answer Man column. McDonald's that shared space with the Reverend Roberts was moved to a new location under construction at the time near the Price Cutter, farther south on National, a few blocks away. I went to the site to take a look and was surprised by the amount of excavation being done. I called Kristen Millam, I think, a spokesperson for the city of Springfield. She told me that two separate things are going on. National South James River Freeway involved in, that's something else, I think. Hang on. Wait, no, hold on. These darn captions get in my way sometimes. Okay. Work is underway on South National Avenue, just south of the James River Freeway, involving stormwater and a regional detention pond. In addition, Reverend Roberts is working on its business there. The first is a public improvement project involving stormwater work to modify a regional retention pond along with the relocation of an existing sanitary sewer line, Millen told me via email. This work is associated with 1251 East Kingsley and is currently approved and under construction. The second project involves renovations to the existing Reverend Roberts convenience store. This project is also currently under construction. When I was there to investigate, your question, Jan, the space once occupied by the McDonald's was vacant. Okay, okay. Okay, this is Answer Man, Chrome, number 174, apparently. I think that's basically that one. So if you go by there, you'll now you know what's going on. Back to Pat again. Mondays are a thing.
Okay, well, this from 417 Business News. This is food news in Springfield. Springfield really showed up this past weekend between Art Fest and all the Route 66 Centennial festivities downtown and around Commercial Street. I know our nearby local eateries felt the love from the foot traffic. This was presented, this article is by Tessa Cooper. I went to Buttermilk on Saturday night for some ice cream with a friend, and I think it was with the most people I've ever seen dining and drinking in Roundtree. Speaking of showing up, you all did really the same at our annual Think Summit event. More than 700 people filled the auditorium. It was an honor to lead a panel filled with the entrepreneurs in the food and hospitality industry who are reimagining legacy spaces. If you missed this discussion with the folks from Brown Derby Wine Center, The Holler, The Table, and the Daily Blend at Plaza Towers, read our event recap. Big news from Split Social Kitchen. Since opening in 2020, Split Social Kitchen has built a following that has outgrown its current pint-sized post at 3027 East Sunshine Street in Springfield. Speaking from my personal observations here, there's really no such thing as a slow time for the eatery. It's not out of the ordinary for the restaurant to be packed at 2:30 p.m. on a Sunday. That's why this news is cause for celebration. Split Social Kitchen is expanding. This past weekend, they posted a teaser on Facebook with a photo of the crew proudly holding a set of new keys. The caption mentions that they've been keeping a giant secret and alludes to a bigger spot. We just reached out to get some more details about the new location and timeline, and we will report back. 417 Land meets Cesar's Luchador Mexican restaurant. Exciting news. Cesar Ortiz, who co-founded Cesar's Old Mexico, is working on a new project. According to reporting by the Daily Citizen, he plans on opening Cesar's Luchador Mexican restaurant in the former Red Giant's Hamburg at 2301 West Sunshine Street in late May or early June 2026. If you aren't familiar with the Ortiz family, the tradition of Mexican cooking runs deep in it. Cesar is from the central coast of Mexico and originally settled in Santa Ana, California. He moved to Springfield to help his brother run his family business, Cielito Lindo, in 1996, and branched off to start Cesar's Old Mexico in 2015, while his sister opened Jose Locos in 2013. According to a business Facebook post, Cesar's Old Mexico co-founder Sandra Ortiz has been solely operating and leading the business for more than 2 years, and this new venture will not be affiliated with it. 3 tasty ways to celebrate Mom. PSA Mother's Day is this Sunday. Here's how we recommend celebrating the moms in your life. Kick off the day with brunch or breakfast in bed. If the mom you're celebrating likes to rise slowly, she'll love classic breakfast in bed moments. Get out a lovely tray and whip up some eggs and pair it with coffee and pastry from Dancing Mule Coffee. Their drive-thru was made for days like this. But if your mom is more of a get-up-and-go gal, restaurants like Ocean's Inn and Fire and Ice are also hosting Mother's Day brunches. Take her to tea. Last year, I got to enjoy the European Mother's Day tea party with my husband and daughter. It was such a wonderful way to spend my first Mother's Day as a mom, so we're doing it again this year. They've sold out for their Sunday service, but there are still a few tickets left for Friday. For dinner, grab takeout at your mom's favorite local business. We've got plenty of affordable ideas for you, or swing by Seafood Express for something delicious to grill. Whichever route you go, the key is to make sure the kitchen is spotless at the end of the night. And some itty-bitty news bites if you ever suffer from withdrawal from Maria's Mexican restaurant. We've got good news for you. Former owners Chris and Monica Guest are once again slinging their fried tacos at their new food truck, Monica's Mexican. A special thanks goes to Billy Dove of 417 Food List for tipping us off on this one. We drive by the future site of the new Hong Yen Vietnamese restaurant location at 301 East Battlefield Road quite often and just noticed a new sign pop up that reads, "Opening soon." The Safe Spoon just made a post teasing a potential dining service, so stay tuned for that one. Matt.
Making me hungry over here. Some good food. Places I remember, and I believe the Luchador is a Mexican wrestler.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe there'll be some themed stuff. I'm not sure. I'll have to go and see that when it opens. An opinion, kind of a fun opinion piece. What's the soundtrack of your life? Guest columnist Paul Kincaid, Kincaid maybe, shares about his favorite songs and albums and what they meant to him throughout his life. Let's see if we can find that here. it was a capture. I guess it was a capture, a photograph by Brewer and Shipley in a concert in 1971 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, apparently. But let's find the article. Okay, there it is. Oh, here we go. I think it is. I believe so. Okay. Every life has its soundtrack. American novelist Jodi Picoult said that, and it's true. While the details differ, each of us has a soundtrack. My dad liked country singer Jim Reeves. Mom preferred Perry Como and Andy Williams. Since I played trumpet through junior high school, I admired Al Hirt, Louis Armstrong, and bands of Glenn Miller and Count Basie. Later, I listened to Chicago, Blood, Sweat and Tears, and Earth, Wind and Fire for their horn sections. I like this guy. I played band myself. I became addicted to tight harmonies from the Mills Brothers, to the Association, to the Eagles, to Yes, the Backstreet Boys. You always remember your firsts as the next heading, it looks like. I guess this Socialite is his first album. I'm not sure which one, though. It includes another favorite song, Cherish, with a distinctive modulation technique used in songs by performers. Yep, that's the photo there. As with many life experiences, the music you never forget your firsts. The first appearance by the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, February 9th, 1964, was life-changing. At night, I put my transistor radio under my pillow, hoping to hear I Want to Hold Your Hand. I saw her standing there. And the B-sides of the 45 RPM records released in the U.S. on December 26th, 1963. Back then, 45s were affordable. Albums were more expensive. My first and only album for a long time was The Greatest Hits by The Association, which came out in 1968. My favorite Association song, I missed a line there, I think. Oh, was and is, where'd I go? Darn this thing. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, come on. Sorry, guys. Was it still is Cherish, in part for its modulation and key, its energy and interest. I'm a big fan. A few artists, including Barry Manilow, use it in their...
It was covering some of it.
Okay. Oh, now I can't read it. Now it's all kinds of...
I'm so sorry.
I don't know what you've... Oh, no, I can't... I've lost it. Okay, there it goes. Use it in their songs routinely. My first live concert was Brewer and Shipley in Kansas City, Woods Park, on September 21st, 1969, a month after Woodstock. A neighbor, Linda Fears, I believe, wanted to go, and her parents wanted her to go with someone. The promoters expected 40,000 people to attend. 20,000, I don't know, good grief. That's a lot of zeros. Well, 20 to 30,000, I think, showed up. Let me get past this. Okay. Okay. My first date with my wife was at a concert. We lived in Enid, Oklahoma at the time. One of Janet's favorite artists was Gordon Lightfoot, and she bought 2 tickets to his concert on Friday, June 6, 1975 in Oklahoma City. She invited me to go with her, and it was a great evening. While there, we discovered one of my favorite groups, the Bee Gees, was going to perform at the same venue the next night, so I bought tickets. Oh, period, okay. It didn't disappoint. What I remember most is the striking difference in the same facility 24 hours apart. Gordon Lightfoot was like an intimate coffee house performance, while the Bee Gees was a full-blown production with a light show and full backup band. For my wife and I, our song has always been America's Sister Golden Hair, a song described as capturing a sense of pure joy and euphoria. Okay, shows the album cover, hang on. But I can't see anything about the album, so. Trying to get past the caption here, hang on. Okay, I think I've got it. And the next heading is the best music venue might surprise you. One of the best venues for listening to music is your vehicle. You can control the tone, adjust the speakers, and turn up the volume until the windows, the window seats and entire interior vibrate. That's why we replaced our radios with 8-track cartridges, then cassette tape players, and then CD players. Now there are streaming services. Music triggers memories. One such memory for me was our high school talent show in the spring of 1970. A week or so before our graduation, some of my classmates played an amazing cover of For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield. It remains one of my favorite songs for the lyrics, that performance, and the high school memories it generates. Most nights when I was a freshman in college, I stacked the same 3 albums to fall asleep to. Crosby, Stills and Nash, self-titled album, Ticket to Ride by the Carpenters, and the best of the modern jazz quartet, louder to soft, vocals to instrumental. No more captions, just a second here. Okay, here we go. I could describe these photos because I'm sure they're pretty cool. There we go. Prior to every home baseball game, my last year in college, I pumped up with The Grange by ZZ Top, as loud as I could get away with in the dormitory. In the early 1980s, my final alarm to get up and ready for work was Janet playing Ojos 17 by Stevie Nicks. Yes, volume. What? Oh, these darn things. Okay. By Stevie Nicks. Okay. Yes, volume up. Okay, period. Okay. Our daughter and son developed their own tastes in music. In addition to the performers already mentioned, their musical foundations included Neil Diamond, Simon and Garfunkel, Jackson Browne, Linda Ronstadt, Amy Grant, Jim Croce, John Denver, Lionel Richie, Joni Mitchell, Phil Collins, Kenny Rogers, Cher, and then Billy Joel, Elton John, Barbra Streisand, Whitney Houston, James Taylor, Carly Simon, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Carole King, the Dave Brubeck Quartet, Frank Sinatra, the Guess Who, and Shania Twain, Olivia Newton-John, The Temptations, Kansas, Righteous Brothers, Seals and Crofts, and Peter, Paul, and Mary. They heard hit songs and themselves from movies, sports teams, signature songs, network theme songs, Christmas carols, and traditional Jewish music. And then my favorite songs of all time is the next heading. The ultimate test for my music is if it stirs your emotions and makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. The first song that did that for me was You'll Never Walk Alone, when our grade school choir performed it. The Missouri State University fight song does it every time I hear it. Same for good renditions of the national anthem. But the ultimate example and my favorite song, and what triggers this column, is the Severed Heaven by Led Zeppelin. This Led Zeppelin, that's the, okay, it's the caption of it. Yeah, maybe not, let me see. I'll try it. It may be a photo caption, but we'll read it anyway. This Led Zeppelin album includes Higgins' favorite song of all time. Yeah, okay, that is the caption. Okay. Released in 1971, the song takes you on an emotional journey, according to the photo. Okay, never mind. Okay, here we go. I recently came across the version the group Heart performed in 2012 at Kennedy Center honors that included Led Zeppelin. You can't beat the original Led Zeppelin version, but Heart's live performance is a close second. In about 8 minutes, that song takes you on an emotional journey. It is melancholy, then questioning and pensive, then frustrating and angry, and finally acceptance, at least temporarily. When the song came out in 1971, those of us in our late teens and early 20s were trying to figure out life, who we were. We were trying to figure out life and or what we were, what we believed, what we wanted to do. This song captured all the emotions we were feeling. That's why the song has endured for 55 years. I hope my playlist prompts you to recall the soundtrack of your life. Cherish the memories. I think that's. Of course, there are. You can't click on those, I think, but that was cool. I like a lot of that. I like all of that, actually. I'll go on to Pat now and see what she has, and I'll find what I have.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri court revises ballot summary for congressional map referendum. A Missouri appeals court on Thursday, April 30th, rewrote the ballot summary for a proposed referendum on the state's newly gerrymandered congressional map, ruling Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' description still included unsupported claims about the map approved by lawmakers last year. The Western District Court of Appeals reversed part of a Cole County ruling and certified a shorter summary for the referendum petition backed by a political action committee called People, Not Politicians. If the referendum qualifies for the November ballot, voters could be asked whether to approve the redistricting plans passed during a 2025 special session and signed by Governor Mike Kehoe in September. The court's certified summary says the legislation repeals Missouri's existing congressional plan and replaces it with new boundaries that keep more counties intact. That is narrower than the summary Hoskins certified in November, which said the 2025 map repealed an existing gerrymandered congressional plan that protects incumbent politicians and replaced it with districts that keep more cities and counties intact, are more compact, and better reflect statewide voting patterns. People, Not Politicians sued in Cole County 1 week after Hoskins certified the language, arguing the summary was written to tilt voters towards the new map. The case landed in the Western District after Cole County Circuit Judge Brian Stumpy agreed parts of Hoskins' wordings were unfair but left other claims in place. Stumpy removed the references to the current map as gerrymandered and protecting incumbent politicians. He also struck the claim that the new map better reflects statewide voting patterns, but he allowed the ballot summary to say the new districts keep more cities and counties intact and are more compact. The appeals court said that went too far. Writing for a unanimous 3-judged panel, Judge Alok Ahuja said the claim about counties could stay because the 2022 and 2025 laws identify which counties are split among congressional districts. The 2022 map split 9 counties, while the 2025 map split 5, the court found. Excuse me. The court said the claim that the new map keeps more cities intact could not be verified from the legislation or the official's map alone. The same problem applied to the claim that the new districts are more compact, the court said, because compactness in congressional redistricting cannot be judged simply by whether districts look like squares, rectangles, or hexagons. The court also faulted Stumpy for removing the word existing from the description of the 2022 congressional map, noting referendum proponents had not challenged that word, and the trial court made no finding that it was unfair or insufficient. The ruling did not decide whether the 2025 map is currently in effect while the referendum process plays out. The appeals court said that question is being litigated separately, but it found that if the referendum qualifies for the ballot, The 2022 map could fairly be described to voters as Missouri's existing congressional plan because voters would be deciding whether to approve the one passed by lawmakers last year. In a statement, Richard Van Glon, Executive Director of People Not Politicians Missouri, said the ruling marked the second time a court found Hoskins' ballot language misleading. The Attorney General's office could not immediately reach for comment on the appeals court ruling. The ballot title fight is one piece of a broader legal battle over the 2025 map, which was drawn in a mid-decade special session and could help Republicans pick up another U.S. House seat by reshaping the Kansas City area district represented by Democratic U.S. Representative Emanuel Cleaver. This article was first published in the Missouri Independent and was submitted to Springfield News-Leader by Jason Hancock of the Missouri Independent.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, celebrate Missouri's great outdoors at the ballpark. Outdoor lovers are invited to the May 7th event, Conservation Federation of Missouri Day with the Springfield Cardinals. Who's inviting this one? I think it's a sponsorship, I think. Okay. Yeah, sponsored by HMI Fireplace Shop, I guess, 2 or something? Oh, shop, that was 2 hours ago, never mind. Ran that together. Okay. Presented by HMI Fireplace Shop, okay. This post was paid for and produced by HMI Fireplace Shop. The Daily Citizen newsroom was not involved in the creation of this content. Missouri is blessed with some of the best outdoors spaces in the country, from rolling forests and clear streams to wildlife, rich prairies, and friendly parks. Our state's natural treasures give us places to hunt, fish, camp, hike, and make lasting memories. Protecting these resources for future generations takes teamwork, and that's exactly what the Conservation Federation of Missouri, CFM, does every day. This year, HMI Fireplace Shop is proud to partner with CFM once again to bring you a fun-filled evening that combines America's favorite pastime with a celebration of our Missouri outdoors. Mark your calendars is the next heading. Mark your calendars for Thursday, May 7th, 2026 at 6:35 p.m. Head to Route 66 Stadium, which is the new Cardinals, through our Hammond's field name, Springfield, for CFM's Day with the Springfield Cardinals. It's a perfect chance for families, friends, and outdoor lovers to enjoy a Cardinals baseball game while supporting conservation efforts across our state. HMI Fireplace Shop has proudly stood beside CFM for many years. What's his name? Charlie, where'd it go? No. Oh, no, hang on. Hold on, guys, I lost it. Hang on a second. Okay, let's try that again. No. Come on. Okay, here we go. I found it again. 1 second, guys. Let's see if I can get it back. Seem to have lost my spot. Well, I guess you can get the idea of that, I suppose, but I guess we can go back on to Pat again.
Well, there's several articles today in all newspapers about the Route 66 celebration. This is from the Springfield News-Leader about C Street, or Commercial Street. Car show on Springfield C Street honors Route 66 traditions. There are several little video clips taken by drones this weekend showing all the car shows and the cars lined up on Commercial Street and various other locations around town. Route 66 does not touch Commercial Street, but on Friday and Saturday, the historic district was buzzing with visitors, live music, and a classic car rally as it hosted festivities celebrating the Mother Road's centennial. While much of the National Centennial kickoff centered around St. Louis Street and downtown Springfield, Commercial Street was the backdrop for the Red, White, and Bridge Bash to honor and recognize the history of the area and its role in commerce and transportation in the region. The event combined the celebration of Route 66 with the marking of America's 250th anniversary. Commercial Street is often referred to as Springfield's other downtown. Before Route 66 wound through Springfield, Commercial Street was the bustling commercial center due to the Frisco Depot that carried trains full of passengers and goods into the Ozarks. Events Friday night, May 1st, included the illumination of the Jefferson Avenue footbridge and a drone light show that drew oohs and ahs from the crowd. The show created images of the Mother Road spanning the U.S., a classic car and train, as well as patriotic images that celebrated classic American symbols such as the Statue of Liberty and the Constitution. Although the Friday evening event celebrated the rebirth of the historic Jefferson Avenue footbridge, the bridge remained closed to eager visitors looking to step above the railroad tracks. The bridge has been undergoing rehabilitation work after closure due to safety concerns 10 years ago. Work to bring the footbridge back to life and become more accessible has continued but has fallen behind schedule due to the age and complexity of the structure. According to the previous News-Leader reporting, the city is now targeting summer for completion and reopening the bridge to the public. Classic cars roll into Springfield. A celebration of Route 66 would be incomplete without classic cars. Just like Springfield's annual Route 66 festival in August draws an array of vintage cars, the Centennial celebration brought the Great Race Spring Rally to the Queen City with the vehicles displayed on Commercial Street. The rally on Commercial Street followed the National Celebrate America on Route 66 parade that cruised along St. Louis Street. Mike Friel and Joe Van Leer of Pennsylvania were among the teams participating in the rally and were first-time visitors to Springfield. The two trailered Friel's car, a Pontiac GTO convertible from Ohio. The rally is seen as a sort of warm-up to the Great Race, a multi-day vintage car controlled speed race across the country that tests teams' navigation abilities and precision. The Great Race this year will follow the Mother Road from Illinois to California, including driving through Springfield in late June, though it does not include a planned stop in the Queen City. Each day, the team of a driver and navigator are given precise instructions that indicate turns and speed changes with checkpoints along the way to measure how accurately the team followed the instructions. The goal is to be the most precise, not the fastest. In order to participate in the Great Race, cars need to be at least 50 years old and no modern technology, or the odometer can be used, leaving teams to rely on stopwatches rally clocks, and specially installed speedometers. Friel described the 2,300-mile race as a bucket list item for many and noted that the event has seen an influx of interest within the Route 66 Centennial. We're getting our kicks on Route 66, he said. I've always wanted to do a Route 66 trip, and it just so happens to coincide with the great race, so it's working out. Friel already tried his hand at the race last year, making the race in June his second one. Van Leer will not be joining Friel for the 9-day race, but was standing in as navigator for the spring rally, which only spans the weekend. It's a challenge, Friel said. I can't say it's particularly fun. It's work. When you're rallying, you're working and you're paying attention. Van Leer said being a part of the race is a way to take vintage cars out and get use out of them instead of just collecting them. This particular thing gets you out to see a lot of country that you would never have driven through. Small town America, big town America. You're using your car, you're traveling, seeing America. It's friendly competition. Along with many visitors, Springfieldians are well represented among the classic car fans crowding Commercial Street. Rory Burge and Linda Pierce, both donning Route 66 shirts, picturing their 1987 Chevrolet Silverado, sized up the vintage cars on display Friday. Burge said he admires the history of the road, having traveled much of it as a tour bus driver for 40 years. Pierce has participated in Springfield's annual Route 66 festivals at least 10 times, while Burge has been a part of it for the past 4, and said any event bringing together fans of cars is worthwhile. It's amazing the conversations you pick up with strangers, she said. It's just the camaraderie of it for years, and it's grown and grown. Pierce added that events like these are a way to show off Springfield and Missouri to more people. They are hopeful to see celebrations of Route 66 continue past the Centennial for years to come. There's pictures here of the crowds and people looking at the older cars. They're on Commercial Street in front of the Pizza House and the Springfield Mercantile Company. And this article was presented by Marta Mize to the Springfield News-Leader last Friday. Matt.
Springfield Daily Citizen, Kickapoo stand-up Brody Wilson is a valedictorian with velocity. Missouri state-bound pitcher is big on academics and throwing fastballs, clocking in the 90s. It's Andy Carroll, looks like. Wrote this one. This of the week profile is made possible by our healthcare sponsor, Mercy. Mercy. Okay. Construction sponsor, Newsbit Construction, and Daily Citizen Athlete of the Year scholarship sponsors Absolute Dental and Dumpster some kind of .com thing. US or something, USA.com, something, I don't know. PRD in Kickapoo standout Brody Wilson is a valedictorian. Oh, same thing. Okay, hang on. What are these player things? Okay. Kickapoo ace Brody Wilson put an exclamation point on a complete game gym. Liberty North Arkansas recruit Roy Fisher chased high heat and went down swinging. Wilson struck out 9 batters over 7 innings and yielded just 2 hits in the Chiefs' 6-1 win over the state-ranked Eagles at Pittman Stadium on April 3rd. Fisher might get another crack at Wilson at Route 66 Stadium in college as the 6'4", 240-pound Wilson is committed to Missouri State. He had command of all 3 pitches, and Liberty North is a really good team, and he dominated them in the outing on the night. Kickapoo manager Jason Howler said he wants to compete, and he's not going to give it in. He doesn't shy away from it. He wants the ball. Big games, good hitters. It's not like you see him intimidated. These darn pictures here, I think. Pitcher, senior, Brad Wilson, doesn't matter, on Thursday, April 3rd in Springfield. That's a photo, okay. Wilson compliments a low 90s fastball with a changeup and slider. When the secondary pitchers are landing for strikes, Wilson is devastating. He is 4.2 with a 3.79 ERA and 51 strikeouts in 35.2 innings this season. And opponents are hitting for spare by, okay, we kind of get the idea of that one. We'll move on to Pat, see what she has. A lot of technical jargon, I just don't quite have the monkeys on, so.
Another article about Route 66, but taking a different outlook. Route 66 meant careful planning, not freedom, for black travelers. For many people, Route 66 brings to mind hot rod cars, palm trees, and a sense of freedom, but that wasn't the experience for all travelers who drove along the highway. For travelers who weren't white, especially before desegregation, a trip along the Mother Road meant packing lunches so you didn't have to worry about a restaurant not serving you, or driving through the night because you weren't sure if a motel would rent you a room. In some cases, families even brought along extra gasoline, empty coffee cans, because some gas stations wouldn't let African American travelers use their pumps or restrooms. A group of Missouri State University professors are putting together an exhibit to highlight those experiences using first-hand accounts of African American Springfieldians collected more than a decade ago. The Mother Road, spelled lowercase m, uppercase other road, stories of the African American experience on Route 66 will be at Benton Avenue AME Church from June 3rd to August the 29th. In addition to artifacts and written information, the exhibits will also feature a 7-minute video incorporating oral histories from MSU's digital collection. Professors Lyle Foster, Leonard Horton, Judith Martinez, and Exmina Uribe-Zarain also hope to host panel discussions at other places that show the exhibit. Part of the idea is to make sure that the community, particularly in this centennial year of Route 66, can actually be aware of the African American experience, Foster said. Exhibit and research fill a gap in selective memory. Despite each professor being a part of a different department, Foster, Horton, Martinez, and Uribe-Zarain came together with the idea of doing something for the Route 66 centennial. A look into previous scholarly works revealed a gap. While there was research about the African American experience on Route 66 across the nation and research about Route 66 in Springfield, there wasn't anything about African American experience or the communities that came together to support their fellow travelers along the highway in southwest Missouri. We have some research in New Mexico, especially because of Native Americans. We have tons in California, Uribe Zareen said. We have other stories, nothing around Springfield and the Ozarks. There's a picture here of Today host Al Roker and others with the airing the Today Show downtown Springfield on Friday. Oral histories from the Missouri State University digital collections helped fill in that gap. The exhibit is based on the preliminary results of the professors' research, which they are in the process of publishing in academic journals. Across 19 oral histories, the collaboration identified 4 main points. Segregation varied block by block in Springfield. The Black community built its own map of safety along Route 66. Navigating the landscape was something that was learned and taught across generations, and for many African American Springfieldians or travelers, Route 66 wasn't a road of leisure, but an emotional and physical labor. Really, what we want this to be is public memory, Uribe Zareen said. Our ultimate aim is to get the stories out so that the selective memory that we have of what historical facts include these lived experiences of African Americans. Both Uribe and Zareen and Foster emphasized during a panel presenting the research that this work isn't meant to dampen the centennial celebrations or say that African Americans only had bad experiences on Route 66. Rather, it's about giving a more complete picture of the iconic road and sharing stories that go beyond the prevailing narrative. We're not trying to put down Route 66. Route 66 existed, and we can't deny that, but we want to make sure there's a complete narrative of the experiences on Route 66, Foster said. I think that's the cry for our nation. We want to make sure everybody's story gets to be told, celebrated, respected, and reflected upon. There's a picture of Graham's Rib Station from the 1930s. Green Book places like Miss Alberta's Hotel were lifelines for African American travelers. The exhibit will highlight oral histories as well as businesses in Springfield that made travel safer for the African American community. During the time that Route 66 was active, Missouri was one of the top 2 states in the Midwest with the most sundown towns, Foster said, named for the signs that instructed people of color to leave before the sunset. Sundown towns were all-white towns or areas where segregation was enforced through laws, intimidation, or violence. A guide called the Negro Motorist Green Book helped African American travelers navigate these situations by advertising restaurants, gas stations, and hotels that would serve them, and even private homes that would rent rooms to travelers. The Green Book was pretty much like a GPS system for people who were not white to know where they could stay, to know where they could eat, to know where they could find safety and refuge, Foster said. During the segregation era, stories from African American musicians and performers showed the paradoxical situation they often encountered. While a theater or concert hall would host a black performer, their celebrity didn't allow them the ability to stay in finer hotels. One of the really ironic things about our history locally is that you had these national celebrities that would perform at the Shrine Mosque before huge crowds, and when it came time to go to bed at night, they couldn't stay in the Kentwood Arms Hotel, Foster said. But at the same time, it was also a social refuge because they were with the local community of people who were astounded but also thrilled by the fact that celebrities like Duke Ellington or Henry Belafonte were eating, talking, and joking with them. Research papers are often difficult to understand, steeped in scholarly language and theory that doesn't make for easy public consumption. The research that begat the other road is different. Foster is a professor at a in the Department of Sociology, Anthropology, and Gerontology, and the university's sociology program focuses on subfield called public sociology. The branch of study lends itself to bridging the gap between academia and the public. A lot of times in academia, we kind of pontificate and share our theoretical ideas and knowledge, but it's not always practical or applicable in the community, Foster said. Public sociology takes the lens of let's immerse ourselves in the community and come up with community-based responses and solutions, particularly to social problems. This approach allows people to look at history and ask what they can learn from it and how can it inform them now and in the future, Foster said. While it's tempting to think that history is cut and dried, the reality is messier and often more painful. I think a lot of work is really trying to figure out in terms of this, what is the history of Springfield? What is really the history of Route 66? It's a multifaceted history. Certain narratives have become what I would describe as the most palatable story. Foster said, there are some things that are very uncomfortable and maybe we just want to pretend. We'd rather forget or not talk about it. I think the opportunity with public sociology is to even take the things that are difficult because we must wrestle with those things. And this article was in the Springfield News-Leader. It was submitted by Susan Shush this morning at 4:09. Matt.
Lennox Grattan, that's good news for the Missouri State Bears, unfortunately. Missouri State is in a late season swoon. It can't afford more letdowns. Bears dropped to fourth in Conference USA standings after losing 7 of their last 8 games. That was Little Scranton, of course. Dick Gilbert waved off starting pitcher for the forced out after the first base on Friday, May 1st, 2026 in Springfield. Okay, that's the caption, okay. Player windows and things. Okay. Missouri State started its biggest conference USA baseball series of the season with a bang, popping league leaders Jacksonville State 10-2 on Friday night with 3 early home runs and starting pitching. It was a festive way to celebrate the first game in the newly renamed Route 66 Stadium, also serving to break a 5-game losing streak that bogged down the Bears entering the critical home stretch. Things went to baseball hell the rest of the weekend for the home team. Jacksonville State recapitulated the 10-2 by walloping with one of its own on Saturday and continued its charge towards a regular season title by humiliating the Bears 11-4 on a beautiful Sunday. I think it was 9-1 or 9-2 on Saturday. It doesn't say that here yet, but I was there, so I know the score. Senior Day festivities were spoiled as Missouri State fell 18-3 at home. The Gamecocks are a solid team that showcases speed and pitching. They are 3.8 to 10 overall or 3 to 10 overall, 24. Okay, running away from the CUSA regular season title. The ratings percentage index at number 29. They're a handful for any opponent, and a testament of that good pitching usually beats good hitting. This was a series that had been much anticipated and could have been a defining weekend, but cementing Missouri State's claim to an at-large bid to this NCAA tournament. The Bears instead are in treacherous territory entering the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Now, this is not the time of the season that you want to go into a free fall, but Missouri State 27-17 overall, and 15-9 in CUSA remains salty number 23 in the all-important ratings percentage index, thanks to a non-conference schedule ranked number 9 nationally. Of all the NCAA sports, the baseball selection committee tends to reward teams in the top 35 of the RPI with at-large NCAA tournament bids. Fixture stuff, okay. Triple is the Bears have looked anything but an NCAA tournament team over the last 2 weeks, dropping 7 of their last 8. It's pretty much been an across-the-board struggle, but finally hitting overthrowing strikes. The pitching staff, which hasn't produced consistently, continues to scuffle. Even the once mighty offense has sprung leaks of late, perhaps owing to pressure to produce, while pitching strugglers averaging just 4.3 runs in 7 losses. That's less than half what it averaged prior to a 10-5 home loss to Western Kentucky on April 19th that kicked off the stretch of poor results. A clearly frustrated teams sped to the locker room faster than Kentucky Derby winner Golden Tempo after the game. Coach Joey Hawkins stuck around to address the concerns about his team that could have pretty well clinched its at-large with a series win. The effort this weekend wasn't good enough, Hawkins said. When you look at the 6 remaining league games, we got to take care of business and get into the conference tournament on a high note, there's a path Hawkins added of getting to postseason as an at-large with the strongest USA. There's a path, but you want to talk about that stuff, you better back it up with your play. Right now, we're not playing postseason championship baseball, so the opportunities are there, but the margins get slimmer the more you play like we did together. The pitching, which has been unsteady most of the season, saw big struggles after since I can't remember his last name, CKF, through 7 strong innings in the series opener. Most concerning are freebies being issued, including a season high 10 walks and two hit batters in the finale. 6 of those free passes came around to score. In the middle innings, after the Bears scored in back-to-back innings to cut 52 runs, Missouri State walked or hit the Jacksonville State lead man in 5 consecutive innings. It was maddening to watch as a 4-2 Gamecocks lead grew to 8-4. Today was pretty black and white. Hawkins said we were taking ourselves along the game, and you're never gonna win games letting the lead off guy get on 7 out of 9 times. That's a terrible recipe for success, and we got to make an adjustment on that pretty quick. Asked how to fix a leaky pitching staff this late in the season, Hawkins admitted solutions aren't easy to locate. It's hard. There's no trades. There's no waiver wire. Hawkins said, "You are who you are. It's the roster we've got. We just got to get out of our own way. We got to be temperamentally, to come out and grab the first one on Friday, and then have the showing we did the last 2 days. Tomorrow we just looked like we were on our heels and we were scared to be out there." 7 games remain, beginning with a Power 4 opponent on Tuesday at Kansas State, Route 66. Stadium for an 11 a.m. game, weather permitting. The Wildcats at number 66 are a good RPI opponent with out of the Big 12. The Bears then wrap the home schedule with a series against number 185 New Mexico State next weekend, with 3 straight 11 a.m. games. Any loss to the worst RPI team on schedule would send Missouri State's ratings into a tumble. The final game of that series, due to a scheduling conflict with the Springfield Cardinals, will be at Mark Woolley Field at Meadow Park, Missouri State's home until 2020. Thankfully, Drury has given Meadow a nice makeover in recent years. Missouri State will conclude the regular season May 15th to 17th at Kennesaw State. RPI, I think it's 98, looks like. Stick around Atlanta for the league tourney that begins a few days later. It would be a shame to see this Missouri State team with its outstanding offense not make it to the NCAA tournament. The next 2 weeks will tell a lot, and would serve as a big moment in Hawkins' young coaching career. Headed to the post-game meeting with his team, Hawkins talked about how to the best out of a drought. He's been through a lot, and good and bad as a player at Missouri State and as a coach here. Ownership and accountability is the first step. Hawkins said, you can't point fingers, you can't hope it will get better. You got to be able to look yourself in the mirror, figure out what you have to do and as an individual, and then what we have to do as a team. You can't be scared this time of year, he added. That's the biggest thing. If you're scared, you ain't going to get in postseason. I believe that is that particular column. It looks like. Back to Pat again.
I have a couple of articles out of the Marshfield Mail. A 25-year-old man from Seymour was killed early Sunday morning after being struck by a vehicle along US 60 in Webster County. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, the crash happened around 3:42 a.m. on April the 26th near Diggins. Troopers say the man was riding a bicycle in the roadway when he was hit by a westbound 2020 Ford Explorer. The driver, a 59-year-old man from Ava, was not reported injured. Details are still limited and the crash remains under investigation. Also, Missouri sets rules and review process for future data centers. Data centers are rather at the top of the news at this right about now. Marshfield, a conversation that had mostly been happening behind the scenes, finally made its way into the open this week, and now it's official. The city of Marshfield has taken its first real step towards putting some structure around a topic that's been picking up attention: data centers. Mayor Natalie McNish said the Board of Aldermen approved 2 ordinances in its latest meeting. Nothing flashy, but important. This is the first step, McNish said, a proactive step. First, the city had to define what a data center even is. That might sound simple, but it matters when you're talking about city code. Without a clear definition, there's really no way to regulate something or even know how it fits into zoning. So that was step 1. Step 2 is where things start to take shape. The board now requires any proposed data center inside city limits to go through what's called a conditional use permit process. That's a longer road than just getting a basic approval. Anyone wanting to bring that kind of a project into town would have to submit an application. From there, it goes to planning and zoning. If it makes it through that level, it heads to the Board of Aldermen for a public hearing and final decision. It's not just paperwork. It's a chance to slow things down and really look at what's being proposed. McNish says that's the whole point. There's been a lot of talk about data centers in general, but not all of them are the same. Some are smaller. Some are massive operations that can impact power use, water, noise, and even long-term development plans. That's where the questions come in. How much strain would it put on utilities? What does it mean for nearby neighborhoods? Are there environmental concerns? What happens years down the road if the project changes hands or shuts down? Those are the kinds of things city leaders want answers to before anything moves forward. And right now, this process gives them a way to ask. McNish was clear that this only applies within the city. What happens outside of Marshfield in county areas follows a different set of rules. That's a separate conversation with county officials. Inside the city, though, the goal is to stay ahead of the issue instead of reacting later. The timing isn't random. Interest in data centers has been growing in different parts of the country, and in some cases, it's sparked strong opinions both for and against. That same kind of conversation has started to bubble up locally, especially online. City leaders say they've been watching that, and they'd rather have a process in place now than scramble if a proposal shows up later. This gives us the ability to gather the facts, McNish said, before making a decision. There could be more changes coming. The mayor said the city may look at other parts of its code to see if additional updates are needed as the conversation continues. For now, though, the message is pretty simple. If something like this ever does land on Marshfield's doorstep, it won't happen quietly. There will be meetings, there will be questions, and there will be a chance for the public to weigh in. McNish said that part matters just as much as anything. People can attend meetings, they can reach out to city officials, they can share concerns, ideas, or even support. All of it helps shape the outcome. At the end of the day, nothing has been approved beyond the process itself. But in a topic that's been gaining attention, Marshfield just drew its first clear line on how it plans to handle it. Matt.
Okay, just a second here. More Route 66 type of things. Oh, did you do this one about the footbridge?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I had a little bit about the footbridge.
Okay.
In another article.
Okay. I think this is about it entirely. Historic Route, Jefferson Avenue footbridge lights up for Route 66 celebration. The Red, White, and Bridge bash brought historic C Street to life with music, a car show, and a drone show. Definitely go look at that if you're in the area. I got to go check this out a day later, but definitely bring somebody out so they can show you what it looks like. So you might find it interesting. Okay, here we go. Okay. Jazz music drifted up and down historic Commercial Street on Friday evening. So did Cameron Campbell and his young sons, Derek and Casey, looks like. It wasn't the tunes, courtesy of Missouri State University's Jazz Studies 2 ensemble that brought the Campbells to the Red, White, and Bridge Bash. It was another element of the event, which is the centennial kickoff. We're car people, so we're here for the car show and to celebrate Route 66, Cameron Campbell said. We're kind of new to the area and we want to get a feel for the vibe so we came to check it out. The Campbells just finished a car project of their own. They bought a 1993 Ford Tempo back to life, rebuilding the engine and everything and have it road ready. It's something that someone always wants a memory of, Campbell said. Even though it's not a cool car, it's a rare car because you don't see it anymore. Please have captions, I believe. If I could find her. It is okay. Oh, okay. Hard to know where some of these captions are. Don't know if you're with her. Oh, that's that is a caption. Okay. where this is at. I guess we go with this, I guess. The span was lit up with, hang on, let me go find. This is so hard to find where this is, I have to say. Okay, I think I've got it here. Donna Mayfield with her husband, Joan, was drawn to the opening day with the 2-day bash for another reason. The Avenue the span was lit up with shortly after 8:30 p.m., showing off a new colorful LED light system. I used to walk across the footbridge all the time, Donna said. I used to bring my grandson. He loved trains, and we went across there to watch the trains. Built in 1902, 24 years before Route 66, the bridge is 552 feet long and allows pedestrians to cross 13 tracks of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. It was the first of its kind to be built in Missouri and was added to the National Registry of Historic Places in 2003. The Jefferson Avenue footbridge was closed on March 1st, 2016, after Public Works inspectors found corrosion and steel loss in the north support column. A construction kickoff for the bridge's renovation was held in June 2025, and original plans called for it to reopen this spring. City officials now say it should be ready for the pedestrians this summer. That didn't dampen Friday night's festivities, which also included a drone show set to music, drawing plenty of oohs and ahs after the crowd of hundreds who gathered near the historic footbridge. The dedication of the bridge is planned for 10 a.m. on May 2nd, which should have already happened. Due to the red, white, and bridge bash will also offer live music, beer garden, history and railroad exhibits at historic Firehouse number 2, and of course the car show, which I believe that should have gone pretty well. I think that's pretty much that. I think. Back to Pat.
Okay, and today in history, a wide and varied selection of situations and memories from today in history. In 1970, National Guard kills 4 students in Kent State shootings. On May 4th, 1970, in Kent, Ohio, 28 National Guardsmen fired their weapons at a group of anti-war demonstrators on the Kent State University campus, killing 4 students and wounding 9. The tragedy was a watershed moment for a nation divided by the conflict in Vietnam and further galvanized the anti-war movement. 2 days earlier, on May 2nd, National Guard troops were called to Kent to suppress students rioting in protest of the Vietnam War and the U.S. invasion of Cambodia. The next day, scattered protests were dispersed by tear gas, and on May 4th, class resumed at Kent State University. By noon that day, despite a ban on rallies, some 2,000 had assembled on the campus. National Guard troops arrived and ordered the crowd to disperse, fired tear gas, and advanced against the students with bayonets fixed on their rifles. Some of the protesters, refusing to yield, responded by throwing rocks and verbally taunting the troops. Minutes later, without firing a warning shot, the guardsmen discharged more than 60 rounds towards a group of demonstrators in a nearby parking lot, killing 4 and wounding 9. The closest casualty was 20 yards away, and the farthest was almost 250 yards away. After a period of disbelief, shock, and attempts at first aid, angry students gathered on a nearby slope and were again ordered to move by the guardsmen. Faculty members were able to convince the group to disperse, and further bloodshed was prevented. The shootings led to protests on college campuses across the country. Photographs of the massacre became enduring images of the anti-war movement. In 1974, at the end of a criminal investigation, a federal court dropped all charges levied against 8 Ohio National Guardsmen for their roles in the Kent State student's death. Also today, May 4th, in 1776, Rhode Island became the first colony to renounce allegiance to King George III. Rhode Island, the colony founded by the most radical religious dissenters from the Puritans of Massachusetts Bay, the Massachusetts Bay Colony became the first North American colony to renounce its allegiance to King George III. Ironically, Rhode Island would be the last state to ratify the new American Constitution more than 14 years later on May 29th in 1790. Rhode Island served as a mercantile center of the transatlantic slave trade in the 18th century. West Indian molasses became rum in the Rhode Island distilleries, which then was traded to the West African coast for enslaved workers. After taking their human cargo and across the notorious Middle Passages from Africa across the Atlantic to the Caribbean islands, Rhode Island merchants would then sell those who survived the boat's wretched conditions and rough ocean crossings to West Indian plantation owners for use as enslaved workers in exchange for a fresh shipment of molasses. Also this day in history, the Haymarket Square riot in 1886. At Haymarket Square in Chicago, Illinois, a bomb was thrown at a squad of policemen attempting to break up what had begun as a peaceful labor rally. The police responded with wild gunfire, killing several people in the crowd and injuring dozens more. The demonstration, which drew some 1,500 Chicago workers, was organized by German-born labor radicals in protest of the killing of a striker by the Chicago Police the day before. Midway into the rally, which had thinned out because of rain, a force of nearly 200 policemen arrived to disperse the workers. As the police advanced towards the 300 remaining protesters, an individual who was never positively identified threw a bomb at them. After the explosion and subsequent police gunfire, more than a dozen people lay dead or dying, and close to 100 were injured. Also today in history, the U.S. officially acquires the Panama Canal, takes over construction. A ceremony on May 4th, 1905 marks the official beginning of the U.S. acquisition of the Panama Canal. And after the French had failed in completing this canal, the second effort will succeed in bridging the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, dramatically altering world trade as well as the physical and geopolitical landscape of Central America. For decades before it was attempted, merchants and engineers fixated on the idea of creating a passage through Central America for ocean-going vessels, sparing them thousands of nautical miles and the dangerous trip around Cape Horn. A French company was the first to attempt building a canal, but the results were disastrous. Roughly 20,000 workers died due to accidents and tropical diseases, and the company collapsed without coming even close to completing the canal. In 1902, United States Congress passed the Spooner Act, authorizing the acquisition of the defunct French company. After failing to reach a deal with Colombia to dig the canal, the United States backed separatists in the Isthmus of Panama, leading to the birth of a new nation as well as the Panama Canal Zone, a strip of land 10 miles wide along the route of the canal over which the United States would hold jurisdiction. On May 4th, 1904, dubbed Acquisition Day, the project became official. The Americans largely avoided the mistakes that doomed the French project. Rather than building a sea-level canal all the way across the isthmus, engineers used dams to create inland lakes that connected to the ocean by locks. In addition to creating Gatun Lake, then the largest artificial lake in the world, the project also required blasting of the Galliard Cut, also known as Culebra Cut, an artificial gorge that was dynamited out of the rock of the Continental Divide so that the canal could flow through. Also, on this day in history, Germany agrees to limit its submarine warfare in 1916. On May 4th, 1916, Germany responds to the demand by U.S. President Woodrow Wilson by agreeing to limit its submarine warfare in order to avert a diplomatic break with the United States. Unrestricted submarine warfare was first introduced in World War I as early as 1915, when Germany declared the area around British Isles a war zone in which all merchant ships, including those from neutral countries, would be attacked by the German Navy. Also this day, Paris hosted its second Olympic Games. On May 4th, 1924, more than 2 decades after Paris hosted its first Olympic Games in 1900, the French capital launched its sophomoric Olympics, becoming the first city to host the Games twice. In 1924, Paris Olympics, the 7th occurrence of the modern Olympic Games, signals the acceptance of elite international sporting competition as a major global event with worldwide appeal. A couple of other situations that were celebrated today. The first Freedom Ride departed from the Washington, D.C. On May 4th, 1961, a group of 13 young people departed Washington, D.C.'s Greyhound bus terminal bound for the South. Their journey was peaceful at first, but the riders will meet with shocking violence on their way to New Orleans, eventually being forced to evacuate from Jackson, Mississippi, but earning a place in history as the first Freedom Riders. 2 Supreme Court rulings, Morgan versus Virginia and Boynton versus Virginia, forbade the racial segregation of bus lines, and a 1955 ruling by the Interstate Commerce Commission outlawed the practice of using separate but equal buses. Nonetheless, bus lines in the South continued to abide by Jim Crow laws, ignoring federal mandates to desegregate for years. Also, this was Ella Fitzgerald became the first black woman to win a Grammy Award. This was also marks the beginning of the Grammy Awards, but Ella Fitzgerald, the First Lady of Song, became the first woman to win a Grammy at the Recording Academy's inaugural award show on May 4th, 1959. During the event at the Beverly Hilton in Las Vegas, Fitzgerald took home 2 of 28 awards for Best Jazz and Female Vocal Performances. Ella Fitzgerald sings the Irving Berlin Songbook, Best Performances by Doris Day, Edie Gourmet, Peggy Lee, and Keely Smith for the Best Female Vocal Performance. In contrast, Ella Fitzgerald sings Duke of Ellington's Songbook, won for Jazz Performance. And that is what we celebrate today. There, Matt.
Oh, okay. Didn't know how much time we had left. So.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't the winner of the Kentucky Derby, but it was came second. Springfield raised Renegade takes second at Kentucky Derby. Renegade briefly took the lead late, but was edged out by Golden Tempo at the finish line. Little Scranton put this together on the second, of course.
5 minutes.
Okay. I wasn't sure how much red time. Renegade competes in the Kentucky, it's not Derby. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Okay. Springfield's connection to the 152nd Kentucky Derby. A 3-year-old colt named Renegade charged into contention down the stretch and came up a neck short for a victory late Saturday afternoon at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Renegade, bred and co-owned by Springfield businessman Robert Lowe and wife Alana, in a partnership with New York entrepreneur Mike or something like that, was second best to Golden Tempo at 20th. Long shot in the field of 18. A crowd of 150, 145 television viewers watch some history. Cherry DeVoe or something became the first woman to train a Kentucky Derby winner as Golden Tempo from the number 19 post came from last to first in the final strides to edge Arkansas Derby winner Renegade, who was trying to become the first horse to win the Derby from post position to number 1 in 40 years. Renegade was feared was bumped out at the starting gate as horses battles for the position. Raised on the Lowe's Peoria farm on the northern edge of Springfield, Renegade was 14th entering the first turn, and his jockey Ortiz Jr. Had to weave through traffic throughout. Entering the final turn, Ortiz steered Renegade to the outside, and he began to pass horses and briefly take the lead. But Golden Tempo, ridden by Ortiz's brother, Jose Ortiz, had a bit more burst, and it passed Renegade nearing the finish. Golden Tempo was coming into the race of a third place finish in the Louisiana Derby on March 21st, using a strong late kick. That extra 1/8 of a mile at the Kentucky Derby distance served Golden Tempo well. It also did for the Renegade, who went at second, betting at the odds 6-1. We aspire to be good breeders and to bring one to the Derby and own it to be a big part of it. Special Robert Lowe told NBC on the pre-race walkover as the horses were escorted from the barns to the settling area. This was the third time for the Lowes to have a Kentucky Derby entrant. Steppenwolfer was third, Great. Okay, we're done, I guess? Okay. We'll wrap it up.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over at KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for more information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.